is after 4 o'clock, and we appear to have quorum.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the MPO TAC to order. I'm Tim Pitts, the chair. We'll start on my left.
Andreas Lenen, NMDOT District 1.
Harold Love, NMDOT.
Tammy Dion, EBID.
Angela Roberson, Doña County Community Development.
Mike Garza, Doña County Flood Commission.
Tony Trevino, City of Las Cruces.
Okay, first order of business, the approval of the agenda. I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve, Andreas Lenen.
Second, Angela Roberson.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we approve that. Approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from May 1st. In your packet, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes, Andreas Lenen.
A second.
Tony Trevino. Second, Tony Trevino.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item, public comment. I see no public, so we will move on to the first action item, which is the recommendation of approval of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2025 to the Mesilla Valley MPO Governing Board. Mr. Loya.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the TAC. Dominic Loya for MPO staff. So we've finally reached the end of the process here. That started 18 months ago. So Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050, it will be the name of the plan. This was just simply because we felt this is a good place to make a break between plans. And the next one, we will begin with a unique name. So as all of you know, the Mesilla Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization exists to serve as a forum for regional transportation planning and decision-making in central Doña County. The MPO also works to maintain federal eligibilities for central Doña County for transportation funds. So the core vision is the same from Mobility 2045, and that is to serve all transportation users by planning, implementing, and maintaining a transportation system that coordinates land use and transportation planning. So this did carry over from Mobility 2045 to MTP 2050. So as I said before, this is an update to 2045, Mobility 2045. And this was due to conditions outside member jurisdictions' control. Many of the goals and projects that were presented in Mobility 2045 were not advanced due to multiple factors, including inflation, rising cost of goods in general. So with the pandemic, it slowed a lot of projects down, which also set back other projects. And then over the last 5 years, some of the different projects have risen to the top, while other projects have faded to the back due to conditions and needs. So a few of the major changes in MTP 2050. After a study was done by the City of Las Cruces for a rail line out to the Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park, it was found not to be viable. And this was due to the lack of existing industry to support it. Basically, nobody was going to build a rail line on speculation. So the industry already had to be there. And of course, for the industry to be there, there needs to be a rail line. So this has changed. It has also brought the High Mesa Road to the forefront because of that as a additional connection to the border and the borderplex. And then the other major thing that happened, and we removed the projection cost for maintenance just because the fluctuation of goods and materials have been so high lately. There was no way to come up with a number that would even be remotely close. So the MTP 2050 goals are to provide safe travel for all transportation users, prioritize system maintenance, equitable choices of transportation, provide improved connectivity within the transportation network for all modes, promote system efficiency, reliability, resiliency, and effectiveness, support an economic vitality and competitiveness, to adapt to changing technologies, enhance the environment, and support health and wellness, and then community character and context. So the population projections have been updated in this one, as well as vehicle miles traveled. Any projects within this document within the next 5 years, those are the amounts that are currently obligated within the Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP. Projects further out, basically they just have what is going to be a starting point for funding due to the changing costs. So just looking at some of them, Dripping Springs should be within the next few years. The Engler Interchange should also be. The I-25 capacity study is finishing up right now. So by the time this is approved, it should probably be on its last little bit. But it still has to be in there because will be overlapping the current, this plan as well as the current plan. Then there's railroad crossing upgrades, the local bridge replacements, University Bridge preservation, which is ongoing right now, which will finish up after this will hopefully be approved. Then we've got US 70 Phase 5, which I believe is down to the last few things. We've got the University Avenue Multimodal Project, which should finish up sometime next year. I-25 safety improvements, US 70 median concrete wall barriers and lighting projects, and then I-25 pavement improvement projects, and then Thorpe Road bridge replacement, which is over an EBID facility. And then in the medium term, Arrowhead Interchange, the US 70 pavement preservation, the US 70 study, the I-25 Spruce Bridge widening project, Thorpe Roadway improvements, and then pavement preservation. And as I said, most of these are just starting points. Arrowhead Interchange does have money obligated to it from the state right now. So we'll see where that goes. And then the long-term ones right now are Mesa Grande, at least until the grant is approved. At that point, then it will move into the 4 years of the TIP. And then we've got the Madrid grade separation and the I-10 rehabilitation project, which would be the complete rebuild of I-10 between the I-25, I-10 interchange and the border of Texas. As I said before, this is just a rehash of some of the projects that are currently ongoing that will overlap basically both the current MTP as well as the this MTP that is being proposed. So some of the maps, as you can see, the maps are back in the back. The active mobility map has been updated to show current conditions as well as future plans for infrastructure development. The future thoroughfares plan has been updated with proposed changes to regionally significant connections. And then the functional classification map, the only changes made to that were a few downgrades in classification. Things like Griggs Avenue was downgraded from a minor arterial between Trevice and Walnut to a collector, and then from Walnut to Solano has been downgraded to a local. Most of those things are the things that have been done, as well as a few, showing a few new connections on there in the future thoroughfares plan. The transit system priorities plan has been split into two plans now. One is for Roadrunner Transit, and the other is for SCRTD. They reflect current conditions, and they will be updated when the long-range transit plans are completed. I believe both of those are supposed to be starting their long-range transit plans here pretty soon. And then the truck routes map has had minimal changes. The major change on that was removing right down here to the north of us, Roadrunner Lane from it, as well as Northwind, because of the narrowness of the road and the county not wanting to see semis go down those roadways. So as you can see here, this is the active mobility plan. Anything that is a dashed line is either proposed or under construction right now. The rest is what is currently on the ground. The functional classification map, as I said before, most of the changes are very minor to it, as we have a pretty well-established system right now. As I said, it's just basically cleaning up some small things here and there. The future thoroughfare plan, the major change on this was simply ending Engler Road at a connection with Motel Boulevard rather than moving it all the way across the river, as river crossings are very hard to get due to the International Boundary and Water Commission. This is SCRTD. It just shows the routes on it right now, and as I said, we will update those as more information becomes available as they do their long-range plans. And this is Roadrunner Transit as it stands now, and again, this will be updated more with amendments when their long-range plan begins. And then the truck route map, as I said before, basically the major changes right here, this has been removed. So some of the economic engines include for the MPO area include the, that would be the Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park, the International Airport, Las Cruces International Airport, the High Mesa Road, which would connect Santa Teresa to the industrial park, Arrowhead Park, and then the Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine. So the ultimate goal is to develop a well-integrated, well-functioning transportation network that effectively serves the needs of the residents of the Mesilla Valley. So just a few matters. The Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050 must be adopted by June 30th of 2025. That is a federally mandated deadline. We did close public comment for this last section on May 14th, which was the last governing board meeting. After that governing board meeting, we did close public comment. BPAC did recommend adoption at their last meeting. Staff is requesting that TAC recommend adoption to the governing board. I will now stand for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Mr. Loya. I had just a couple things I noticed in there that I just wanted to comment on. Whether we make changes or not is fine. I'm in support of the plan as a whole myself. One is on the page 15. We have the TAC, and then from CLC, we have somebody from Public Works, somebody from Traffic Engineering, and someone from Roadrunner Transit. I think the city had decided to have someone from Planning be one of those members. And so I think if we take the Traffic Engineering off and just leave it Public Works, Planning, and Roadrunner Transit, I think that would be better. The second one is on page 21, going to that safety measure. And it says safety PM1, the goal is to achieve a significant reduction in traffic fatalities and serious injuries on all public roads. And maybe it's not for this plan, maybe it's for the next one, but I would very much propose we go with Vision Zero and aim towards zero pedestrian fatalities. on there. Now, this is all traffic fatalities, I understand that, but I just make that comment that, and as I say, may not be this, this round. I'm not sure we're prepared to do that, but just have that in mind. And then the last one is, it was just I didn't understand the number on page 32, under the 2020 count by census year. It says 25.7% growth, and I'm not sure where we grew by 25%.
Excuse me, I forgot to speak into the mic. That was probably a typo, Mr. Chair.
I thought
Thank
maybe
you for.
it should be 2.5.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Got the decimal in the wrong place. Thank you for catching that.
Thank you. And that's what I saw. I'll open it up to comments or questions from the group. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, Andreas Nen, staff, I just want to follow up. We, NMDOD, submitted an amendment to the STIP for project LC00530, what is currently still listed under the 5-year plan for US 70 concrete wall barrier and lighting. That project has been replaced with the US 70 capacity study that is currently shown at a 10-year window. So please switch the study forward and delete the median project out of the schedule. And then the study will evaluate the feasibility of the concrete wall barrier, and then we maybe bring that back in the future.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Lennon, could you, whenever it is appropriate in the dialogue, but would you please offer that as an amendment? Since we have the draft that's published, we need to have that as a note for an amendment before we vote on the overall MTP. But I will leave it at the discretion of the chair as to when he wants to open the floor for that.
For sure, Mr. Chair, I recommend after we finish our discussion, we maybe can do one motion for approval of all the amendments.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, thank you. First off, I'd just like to thank staff, just commend you guys for the work on this. I know it's no small undertaking to do this every so often, so thank you for that. I do have a few questions and then also some suggested amendments. So I can run through the questions and then talk about the proposed amendments? Is that how you would like to do it? I noticed that well, let me ask a question, I guess, about, you said that the BPAC recommended approval. Did the BPAC make any recommended amendments to the plan or the maps?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Robertson, yes, they did actually. They asked for an amendment to the active mobility plan, and that is to add in the Las Cruces lateral trail.
Okay. And was that the only recommended
That
amendment?
was the only recommended amendment.
Okay, thank you. I noticed that this map is substantially different than the current map. Even in comparison to like the existing future thoroughfare map and the proposed one, much of the proposed projects carried over. And I see that on the new proposed active mobility plan, most of the proposed projects did not carry over.
Excuse me, I dropped. Mr. Chair, Ms. Robertson, yes, that was a specific decision that staff made for the purposes of this particular MTP. That was rooted in some of the controversy that ensued surrounding the 2020 MTP that we're still operating under Mobility 2045. As part of that MTP, the MPO was severely criticized by some various stakeholders as part of that process for overreaching the amount of facilities that we included on our map. So in reaction to that, we scaled that back. Sounds like now this is not the first time that we've received that criticism, so we may have peeled that back a bit too far, but it's part of trying to strike that balance because there were a lot of very high feelings in 2020 about what we chose to include, and so we were trying to be more respectful of that this time around. So We're going to take that on board for the next MTP as far as trying to work forward on trying to get a better balance on that. But that was the reason why you saw kind of that paring down as opposed to the previous iterations of the map.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. So that leads to my next question. You said the next NTP. How frequently, I know we update the plan every 5 years, I believe, that's correct, but I'm curious how frequently amendments are made to the plan itself.
I'll answer that in two ways, actually. First one in the sort of the realm of ideals, and then kind of in a more pragmatic manner. We can do an MTP amendment basically every quarter. There are certain public notice and public engagement regulations that we have to follow, so we wouldn't really be able to do it any more frequently than every quarter. Pragmatically speaking, though, for the most part, the MTP only gets amended as a matter of routine once a year when we amend in the safety targets for sure. That one is an annual mandate. But then when we amend in also the performance measure and state of good repair. So the opportunity is there to amend the MTP on a more frequent basis, but pragmatically, as a matter of routine expectation, it only gets amended once per year.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. I think with that, I have 8 project areas that I would like to make a recommended amendment on for the active mobility map, or plan rather, excuse me.
Okay.
And just, I will read it into the record, and I can certainly give you guys this in writing so you don't have to try and keep up.
Thank you.
First off, I have the Calle de Norte multi-use path, which is an existing path. And the map, I don't believe, reflects the length of the existing trail. So extend Calle de Norte multi-use path from Calle de Oste to the Mesilla lateral. Number 2, I have a recommended amendment for Calle de Sur, which was on the previous plan. Include future active mobility plans, and I'm using the language from the legend for the blue dashed line. Future active mobility plans. So include future active mobility plans from Highway 28 to Snow Road. Number 3 is Elks Drive multi-use trail. It's currently showing a classification as a shoulder, so reclassify to an existing multi-use trail and extend from Zertuche Lane to the Las Cruces outfall channel. Number 4 is Jornada Road, which was on the previous plan, to include future active mobility plans from Engler Road to Mesa Middle School. Number 5 is Peachtree Hills, which was on the previous plan. Include future active mobility plans from existing multi-use path on Peachtree Hills to Holman Road. Number 6 is Del Rey Boulevard, which was on the previous plan. Include future active mobility plans from Settlers Pass to Thorpe Road. Number 7 is La Reina Road, which was on the previous plan. Include future active mobility plans from Del Rey Boulevard to Desert Windway. And the final one, for at least on the actual active mobility plan, is the Rio Grande Trail, which was on the previous plan, to be included in the entire length within the MPO jurisdiction.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask Ms. Roberson, or actually, I guess, could you restate the suggested bounds on Calle del Sur?
Absolutely. Include future active mobility plans from Highway 28 to Snow Road.
That's one of the ones that may be a little difficult. But we will, if that's the recommendation of the TAC, we will advance that suggestion to the governing board. But that one was subject to some dialogue and consideration during the MTP development process.
Okay.
So just,
I suppose in terms of conversation, one thing to consider, the mayor was just here asking for funds, I think TAP funds, It wasn't for the entire length of that corridor, but it was from Calle de Oste to Snow Road.
There was some disagreement in the community
Okay,
about that particular facility. The mayor is on the board, obviously, so we'll make sure and dialogue with him about his preferences for that particular part of the segment.
okay. Thank you, guys. And a couple other comments. I would also suggest, in terms of legibility on the actual map of the active mobility plan, I would suggest maybe bumping up the line weights and in terms of layers in the GIS, bringing the road names to the top layer just for legibility's sake. It was a little more difficult to navigate than the previous plan.
And I will say to that point that at the time that we published the maps, we had not, and the draft itself, we're still in some punch list items on cleaning up some of the last minute formatting and items on the map. So those particular items, I believe, have already been noted and are in the process of final cleanup and correction.
Okay. One final comment. In the MTP itself, on page 43, there is a map. I believe that is a snapshot of part of the active mobility plan. However, there's no title, annotation, or legend.
Okay, yeah, that would be one of, yeah, I believe we've got that one already cleaned up.
Okay. That does it for me, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you all.
And any more comments before we ask for a motion? General comments on this? No? Okay, so then I'll be looking for a motion. I think we have 9 amendments to the motion. I think that we could incorporate that all into the single motion if that's okay with everybody, unless anybody has any objections to any of those 9. I myself don't. I've heard the MPO's concerns about the one item. Obviously, we still, I think I would support still asking for that because as was stated, we have been recommending funds for that corridor, so it seems appropriate that we do that. So, yes.
Mr. Chair, this is Tony Trevino with the City of Las Cruces. So I've recently seen some actual construction drawings for Peachtree from the county, from Jornada to Holman, and I would like to see that amendment you have for the active transportation, because there is no sidewalk, no nothing as part of that plan set. It's just a 2-lane road with a stand-up curb. So I'd like to see some changes to that to match the additional stuff that the city's done on the west side. So I want to support that one.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to that effect that we, and I think if this is okay with staff, that we just do it that way. We say the plan as presented plus those nine items, and the 2 people with the amendments will give you the exact wording on it.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it's your discretion as the chair as to how you want to handle it. You can bundle them or you can do them individually, whichever
Yeah,
one
I
is
think
better.
I'd like to do them together. I don't see much objection here. So let's, I'll take a motion to that effect.
It does need to be a separate, so we've got to have a motion to amend and then a motion to recommend. So we will have to have 2 votes here, Mr. Chair.
So we'll need a motion to take the, to put the MTP on the table, and then a motion to amend?
No, we just need a motion to amend, then a vote on the amendments, and then a motion on the
That's what we'll do. We'll
MTP.
do a motion to amend first.
Mr. Chair, Tony Trevino with City of Las Cruces. I want to make a motion to amend the NTP.
Second, Angela Roberson.
Okay, any discussion? No? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we'll take a motion to adopt or to recommend approval on the MTP as amended.
Andreas Rennen, motion to approve the MTP as proposed.
In a second?
Tony Trevino, second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, so We recommend approval. Thank you. Next item is a discussion item on NMDOT's Aesthetics Master Plan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This was a presentation. NMDOT reached out to us and asked us to schedule this presentation for the TAC today. I believe we have Miss Amy Bell from NMDOT on the phone to give this presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
here.
Miss Amy Bell, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members. Thanks so much for giving us the time this afternoon to share some information on what I think is a really cool project. I'm Amy Bell. I'm a landscape architect with a company called Anthropopulous. We're actually the consultant leading the planning effort, supporting the DOT's Environmental Bureau in this statewide aesthetics plan effort. You want to go to the next slide? Great, thank you. So I'm going to talk briefly about the plan scope and our general timeline, the deliverables, the outcomes of the plan. We are looking for a very high level of community involvement for this plan because, you know, the aesthetic treatments to our roadway facilities are a really great way of sharing information about communities, our history, our culture. So that community involvement is really key. I'll talk a little bit about how this project connects to the local and regional work that you all are doing. And Las Cruces and the Las Cruces area has, I think, some of the coolest, most beautiful, and probably the most, you know, aesthetic treatments to your roadway facilities. So I think you all are probably really familiar with those treatments and what a difference they can make. And then would love to hear questions, comments, suggestions related to the plan. Next slide. So yeah, oh, there we go. For the purposes of this plan, we are looking at aesthetic planning as really very generally how roadway design integrates with the surrounding landscape. And we're looking to create a plan that is going to have guidelines for not just so it's most basic sort of guidelines for what type of aesthetic treatment, what level of aesthetic treatment, where, as well as we are also developing aesthetic palettes for different aesthetic regions across the state, which I'll provide some more information on. But we're really looking at, you know, what are the treatments to different aspects of roadway facilities, whether it's bridges, interchanges, landscaping, walls, guardrails, rest areas, gravel colors, things like that, and really kind of that spectrum of sort of the most basic of using certain paint colors and reducing maintenance costs because we know we're using the same paint color for all of these railings within this particular region, or using certain gravel colors in landscaping. So there's that consistency to, you know, sort of the higher level application of integration of local artwork and, you know, monument signs. Next slide. So again, this is a really valuable tool that we have for, you know, sharing, communicating New Mexico's rich history. We have so many unique communities all over the state. It's an opportunity to, you know, share that identity, but also create a consistent visual language and consistent pattern. We know that people feel more comfortable when they're traveling through a space that has that kind of consistent visual language. They're going to feel more comfortable, they're going to feel safer, they're going to be more likely to explore. And we do that through the use, again, of different textures, patterns, colors, use of different themes, materials, and then, you know, integration of signage, artwork, and monuments. Next slide. The DOT currently has several policies in place already, including the Gateway Monument Policy, the permit for installing landscaping or murals in DOT right-of-way, and then they do have a set of aesthetic guidelines currently for aesthetic treatments to DOT facilities that are initiated as part of DOT-initiated projects. The purpose of this plan is not to replace any of those, but really to kind of bring them under, you know, an umbrella make sure everything is making sense. We're building on the guidance within the existing policy. And I think also working with communities to try to figure out how, because we hear from a lot of communities that they would like to have aesthetic treatments, but trying to make the process a little easier for them to navigate. Next slide. This is a very general diagram of the planning framework that we're working within, and we're really working in the two outer circles with developing these official statewide guidelines for all DOT maintained facilities, and then within each of the aesthetic regions, we are looking to develop different aesthetic palettes that really speak to that particular region's identity and themes, history, culture. And then within that, there will be flexibility for local, county, tribal creativity and specificity sort of within that broader framework. We are looking to complete the inventory analysis and initial stakeholder outreach. Spring became summer. We're trying to get some more survey responses. Then we will be developing the aesthetic palettes based on the information that we've heard from these meetings and from the survey, bringing those back out for more public involvement in the winter and spring 2026. Refining those palettes, working with DOT district staff to make sure that we're addressing any kind of maintenance, management, cost concerns, and then conducting final outreach and finalizing the plan in late 2026 and early 2027. Next slide. Thank you. So again, outcomes of the plan will be this development of a framework for application of aesthetic treatments, what level of treatment is appropriate for what type of facility or what type of location. That will be integrated into maps that the Environmental Bureau is currently working on as a part of their context-sensitive solutions work that integrates a lot of information about different communities, about different roadway facilities. These aesthetic recommendations will be part of those maps so that when folks start a project, they have all of this kind of existing information at hand. And then we'll be developing those aesthetic palettes, so themes, patterns, materials, costs, and recommendations for different levels of treatment. We are working with Environmental Bureau staff to get a page up on the DOT's website about the project. And we've been generating an email contact list for folks who are interested in the project. We have an online survey that I'll share more information for in a moment here, and hopefully folks had a chance to take before the meeting today. We're having virtual meetings. We're meeting with different boards, committees that are already meeting to share information. But if anyone in this meeting or of anyone in your community who would like to have a follow-up individual interview, meeting, or even a site visit, we're open to all of those interactions if there's interest. Next slide. This survey is a big part of our initial outreach to understand how folks in the different aesthetic regions identify what kind of information you would like to share about your community. It is an online survey. It's not that many questions, very visual. Sort of the example you see up on the screen is, if you had to choose, 2 or 3 animals to represent your region, what would you choose? We also have another option if we certainly couldn't fit all of the animals in the survey. And we've had some great suggestions from various folks who have taken the survey about ideas for animals, themes, patterns, colors, et cetera, that weren't initially included. Next slide. This plan will obviously apply to all of the facilities that fall within the DOT's right-of-way or are receiving funding through the DOT. And then just sort of another comment about, this idea of creating a consistent visual language. We work a lot with branding and identity and wayfinding in a lot of our communities in New Mexico. And while this plan is not a wayfinding plan, we are studying the different brands and identities and wayfinding systems that communities in the state has so that we can make recommendations for aesthetic treatments that will support those situations where we want people to get off the highway, explore a little bit, learn a little bit about the community, and just kind of have that overall positive experience as they travel through the state, about how we can share information through that traveling experience. Next slide. These are the 9 aesthetic regions. It's always hard to lump together areas, so we looked at different sort of common historical, cultural, ecological character, and then also transportation corridors, and the actual boundaries themselves are based on county jurisdictional boundaries. Next slide. For the Mesilla Valley MPO's area, we can focus on what we're calling the Southwest Central area, which has Socorro, Sierra, and Doña Ana counties. Next slide. Several significant DOT-maintained highways, including I-10 and I-25, and other U.S. and state roadways as well. Next slide. We have several ecoregions within this area: Chihuahuan Desert, Arizona, New Mexico Mountains, Arizona, New Mexico Plateau, and Southwestern Tablelands. And next slide. And so with that, I'd like to open it up to questions you all have about the planning process, how you could be involved, as well as suggestions, things that we should be considering. And even if you have particular roadway facilities or locations that you would like, that you think need aesthetic treatments, and we should take a look at them as an example for, sort of developing this framework of these areas need more attention. Love to hear any questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Yeah, I'm very interested to see that. I think NMDOT District 1 has done a great job on the new projects that have come out in the past several decade or so, with really good looking aesthetic, and I'm looking forward to what's with some of the newer bridge projects and see what they're going to do there. I don't know that I have any particular questions about this. I'll open to the TAC to ask any questions. No, it doesn't look like we have any. I know I've done the survey myself. I'll pass that on to our community development group, at least, to have them do the survey. And I would recommend everyone else do the same with their groups. But I don't think we have any comments at the moment on this.
Great. Well, thanks again, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. Appreciate your time. And yeah, again, would love it if you could take the survey, share the survey. We want to make sure that we're hearing from as many people as possible so we don't misrepresent any regions with the aesthetic palettes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair,
you.
we will also forward the presentation to the TAC tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Okay. So that moves us to our committee and staff comments. We'll start with the City of Las Cruces. I have an announcement. This will be my last meeting with this board. I'll be leaving the City of Las Cruces. I'm moving up to Albuquerque with the Middle Rio Grande Conservancy District. So I'm sorry, Michael, but this will be your job next. Well, not next month. You know,
Well,
next month.
he will have to preside over the meeting at least to elect the officers.
So that's my announcement. Tony, do you have anything from the City of Las Cruces that we want to announce?
Just a few updates, just the projects. We're finally getting close to our South Main reconstruction project. We, I want to say we're about 95% with BNSF, but we are getting very close. So hopefully we'll be able to get that undergoing here within about 6 months or so. Melendez Drive will be out to bid. That is from Picacho to Brown. And then we have Rinconada and Baton Memorial East and West traffic signals should be beginning construction within a month or so. some big projects for the city.
Okay, thank you. Doña County?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Angela Roberson, Doña County Community Development. Make an announcement that on Friday, June 13th at 10 a.m. in the village of Doñana, there is a ribbon cutting for the Abeta Pond and Parque Alegre, which was a collaborative project between the community of Doñana and Doñana County, most specifically the Flood Commission. So I don't want to steal Michael's thunder. But it's a really innovative project in collaboration with the community, that it is a joint flood control project and a community park that they're taking a lot of ownership in terms of its development. And there is a walking path incorporated into that park. And the community development team here at the county is also exploring ways to connect that park to the existing Elks Multi-Use Trail, and also looking at connections going west to eventually connect with the future Rio Grande Trail.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Town of Mesilla?
Town of Mesilla is absent today, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and Las Cruces Public Schools appears. We do have, yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Board. Just quick updates, kind of, we're in a summer break right now, but there's summer school programs going on throughout the city with the NMPED literacy program. So you'll see a lot of the flashers still going, at random times of the day. Another thing that's happening is we're currently meeting with, just county and city partners, just to bring to light just some of the issues that we're having, especially with the growth happening in the East Mesa area, more specifically by Mesa Middle School, Monte Vista Elementary, that Jornada, North Jornada Road and Peachtree Hills area is getting pretty, it's becoming a concern, safety-wise. There's a lot of foot traffic now happening because of the growth out there, but also the implementation of the new complex that's being built right there in the corner, the HUD housing that's happening there, is going to be over 100 units. And so, just one of those things that I just wanted to put in y'all's ear too, that we're kind of, looking at these things and just kind of hoping we can find a way to improve, the safety for our kiddos that are walking to school, and of course, even just the parents that are driving traffic, out there. So we are having a meeting, collaboration meeting this Friday. You are welcome to join if you're free at 8 a.m. They're at the Las Cruces Public Schools Operations Office at 505 South Main. But other than that, that's all I have, sir.
If I may ask, do you have representative from the city at that meeting? No?
We did a walk through last week, and we had county and city with us. And then we have currently, I don't know who all is going to be joining, but I know we did it. We're going to have some officials there from the city. And
Mr. Chair, this is Tony with the city. Public Works will be in there tomorrow's meeting, as well as Community Development was also invited also.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Roadrunner Transit
They are absent today, Mr. Chair.
and South Central.
Also absent today, Mr. Chair.
So NMDOT, we'll move on to you.
NMDOT, Andreas Rennen, we have multiple projects, starting with Interstate 10, roadway resurfacing from milepost 146 to 64.3, what is Las Cruces to Anthony. We're continuing the roadway resurfacing project, starting at 5 p.m. Drivers can expect closures on the eastbound and westbound and passing lanes. The project involves removal and replacement of the pavement. Work will take place from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Sunday night through Friday morning. The project is expected to be completed by Friday, June 27th, 2025. I-10 Bridge and Road Rehabilitation Project from mile marker 140 to 143 within Las Cruces. We're continuing with the bridge rehabilitation project over on I-10 over University Avenue at milepost 141. Traffic has been shifted into westbound lanes with the eastbound lanes closed for bridge construction. There's no access to the eastbound on and off ramps. Working hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. through 5 p.m. The project is expected to be completed by July 2025. US 70 mile marker 149 to 150 within Las Cruces. North Main between on North Main between Solano and Elks. Contractor is finalizing the work by implementing striping and some earthwork to complete the walking path. Working hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The project is expected completed by mid-June 2025. US 70 roadway rehabilitation, mile marker 162 to 150 with Las Cruces. Road rehabilitation from Roadrunner to the town of Oregon. The project consists of required lane closures in both eastbound and westbound. Off-ramps will be managed in both directions through flagging operation during milling operations. Construction will be in place on weeknights from Tuesday to Friday morning from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Weekend work will be daytime hours on Saturdays and Sundays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The project is expected to be completed by July 7th, depending on unforeseen circumstances or delays. New Mexico 101, what is University Avenue? The multimodal project from Avenida de Mesilla to South Main. Only one lane of westbound traffic will be allowed on University Avenue between South Main and Avenida Mesilla. Eastbound traffic will be routed to West Union Avenue and South Main Street to access University Avenue. Regular hours of work are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. However, weekends hours could be implemented if needed. That's all we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then MPO staff updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Allow me to finish my note. First thing is, I'm pleased to announce that as of May 5th this year, the MPO transition is officially in effect. We are now administratively separated from the city of Las Cruces. That does not mean that the transition is actually substantively completed. We've just moved into the next phase. There is a lot of stuff that we've got going on right now as far as the implementation, but we are officially, have officially separated out of the city of Las Cruces. Some housekeeping notes to remind everybody. There is no meeting of the TAC in the month of July. The TAC is on vacation next month, so there is no meeting. The next meeting that we will have will be in City Hall in August. Mr. Garza is here, and so he is well aware of the fact that he will be expected to at least kick us off in presiding at that meeting. We will have to elect new officers for the TAC for the remainder of 2025 at that meeting, so please come prepared for that. Other than that, I don't believe there are any other staff updates to make today.
Yeah, thank you. No public comment, I see. So move to adjournment. All in favor?
You can just do it by declaring us adjourned. We're at the end of the agenda.
We're at that point of the agenda. We are now adjourned.